Shout out to Brian D. Yeah, Brian D. What up, though, from Detroit? What's up, Brian? We got G5 California in the building. I see you. Super interesting week. Let's start off with some wins in the community. We had a couple wins this past week. First one was from the homie Marshawn Kerner. Any placement wins for anyone this week was the title of it. He was just checking in. He says, via my tune set, I got a couple more hits on the show Raising Fame, but with a new track created 2 years ago on a collab with another producer. So I hope this encourages someone to keep going, keep submitting, and watch, because when they start hitting, they will hit. That's a fact. Don't get discouraged. At times I have throughout my sync journey, to be honest, but kept the faith and didn't give up on my dream. Stay focused. Your efforts will pay off. It was a question mark at the end. I don't know if he was asking the question, but he says, my desire to win for my family keeps me going. Building a residual income takes time, so go through the process. Your time is coming. Can anyone relate? 100%. I know I can relate. It definitely takes time, man. I think I mentioned last week, it's just, yo, the time is going to go by no matter what. So what are you going to spend your time doing? Wishing that you would have started sync years ago, or start sync and start building that residual income, those royalties, those sync fees and things like that. So shout out to Marshawn for sharing that win with us inside the Sync Producer Hub community. I see David Gilden in the building from Fort Worth. What's up, David? So that's super dope. And then we got a TV placement mastery student who's also a Sync Producer Hub member, winning big time. Check this out. So Steve, I think it's Mokel. I'm sorry, Steve. I should know how to pronounce your last name by now. We spent 12 plus weeks together. So shout out to Steve. He was inside my TV placement mastery program. So this is an accelerated like group coaching where I'm literally coaching a very small handful of producers to their first sync publishing deal. And Steve was in one of the recent groups that just finished up. So he said, just finished 12 weeks with Clint and a couple other great producers, meeting every Wednesday night. And the results are, number one, he signed a deal for a 12-track album on pop instrumentals. That's huge. Number two, single track signed to a library and receiving briefs every week. Super dope. Number three, became part of a small roster of composers and will start receiving briefs for a company that primarily does reality TV in New York City. That's dope. And then number four, a couple of quote unquote, we're not signing anyone at the moment, but hit us up again in a few months. Dope. I can't say enough about how this investment totally turbocharged my approach to sync, both musically and just as importantly, business-wise. Believe the hype, it works. P.S. I turned 60 in October and just got back into composing and producing a few years ago after a lapse due to life, kids, work, etc. So if I can do it, so can you. Shout out to Steve, man. This dude absolutely crushed it. The whole group came in and crushed it. Like another producer in the group, Tim, I think he walked away with 3 sync publishing deals. We shoot for 1, and as you can see here, they like went above and beyond and landed multiple deals. So shout out to those guys. We're starting up we're taking applications for another group, but we only have 7 slots available. So if you want to apply for that, just go to tvplacementmastery.com before that window closes. And yeah, which we're ending up close to the end of the year, so like now's the time to start taking some kind of action, people. Let's go. If you're serious about turning your music into income, this is the event you can't afford to miss. Join us this November for the Shades of Sync conference. Learn directly from industry experts how to land your music in TV shows, movies, video games, and more. Network with top professionals and get the insider tips you need to break into sync licensing. This is your opportunity to shine in the sync world. So lock in your ticket now because they are limited. Head to shadesofsync.com to secure your spot. That's shadesofsync.com. Let's make your music work for you, fam. Go to shadesofsync.com, grab your ticket, and I'll see you there. Travis G says, do you need a separate ISRC for sync submissions? For example, if you have a clean radio version of your song, but you need to structure the record for sync based on the client brief, would you need a new ISRC? I don't really worry too much about that. I've only been asked for that one time, and I don't even think it was like mandatory. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Worst case, if you're curious, ask the publisher and they'll let you know what they need, if they even need it. That's what I would do. So yeah, David says, why do some libraries take tracks at 44.1? I thought 40K was the best. I agree, David. Like, I start everything at 48K because I have some publishers who want 48K and I have some where they're just like 44.1 is fine. I don't know why. I think it's 44.1 gets the job done. Like, a regular person watching TV, watching a movie, they're not going to be able to listen and be like, they step down to 44.1. This isn't good enough. Nope, it should have been 48K. I'm turning it off. I don't think anybody's going to notice. So I don't know why they do it. I think the minimum was definitely 44. Listen, I've had a publisher just, shoot me MP3s, 320. I guess it depends, man. They'll make it work. You know what I mean? Veteran Beat says, what's the next step after your song gets accepted in a library? The next step, that's when the work starts. So after you get some music accepted in the library, my plan of action would be to continue to build with the library and give them like a solid batch of tracks to work with. Don't start after the first one or first couple. Load them up with a few tracks to be able to work with and see, what happens. And then just check in. If they send you briefs, try and hit some of those briefs as much as you can. If they don't send you briefs, maybe just reach out occasionally with new music or ask what do they need. But now it's just like building a relationship. Any relationship, if you don't communicate, it's not really going to go anywhere. So it's the same with the publishers. Just stay top of mind and see how it works out for you. That's what I say. So yeah, that's the next start. That's when the work starts, man. That is when the work starts. Good question. But yeah, as far as sessions, I definitely start at like at 48K. That way I don't have to do any like weird conversions or anything like that. It's easy to convert down. Doesn't really make sense to go from 44 to 48. Like that gets weird in iTunes. I don't even think it makes a difference. So yeah, if anybody else has questions, man, drop them in the chat. This week was fun for me. So I started this week off actually with a 3-day water only fast. Never done one before. I've fasted before. Never did 3 days straight only water. So did that. The interesting thing, I don't know, some people may think like you're gonna die, but you don't die, obviously. I didn't feel as weak as I thought I was gonna feel. 72 hours water only. I worked out as well during that time and felt good. Day two in the morning, I was like a little kind of shaky, headachy, but then that eventually faded and then I was cool. I was super focused. I was creating music. I was sitting down at the session. And one thing I could say was that the focus was like on 1,000. Like I wasn't as easily distracted sometimes with just different things, tasks. There's always something that needs to get done. So sometimes I just hop from task to task. But I was super focused, man. I had like my sessions pulled up and I was just locked in. And I think that's because when you fast, like naturally your body is just like, yo, bro, you haven't eaten in a while. Like it's time to hunt for some food. So your body gets like super duper focused because it's time to hunt. You need to get some food. And I use that to my advantage to get some stuff done. So it was interesting. So it was cool. That was a huge accomplishment, required a lot of discipline. And that kind of crosses over into what we do in sync. It's just, if you're not disciplined, you're not going to see the success that you want. So if you don't sit down and create in spite of creativity hitting you or inspiration, you're not going to gain traction because you're only going to move when you feel like you're being creative. It was a lot of discipline, and that just transfers over into everything. If you can become like a disciplined person, you can win at pretty much anything you put your mind to. So it was really good.